We'll continue with this morning's broadcast in just a few moments. One of the most attractive and most distinguished musical couples of our time, Mr. and Mrs. Danise, are honoring the living opera microphone this morning. The great baritone and the equally gifted soprano, his wife, the charming Miss Bidu Sayão. Miss Sayão, welcome to the program.
I'm so happy to be here, Mr. Wagner, again. You remember, last summer I was with you and I had the most wonderful time, and I hope today will be the same.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I was enchanted by our last interview. I still maintain a copy which I treasure. Signor Danise, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello, Mr. Wagner. I'm very glad to be with you because I'm one of your admirers.
Well, that's very
Because
kind.
you have accomplished a wonderful job for the public education. Anyway, I have to declare that the people that will hear my records will be not so satisfied on account the mechanical defect. That engraving, in that time, you know, they have strange ideas about human voices, and the Brunswick Company, they had an old strange idea to build an elbow to kill the sonority of the voice. But anyway, I think there was some taste, some good taste, and I try to show the ability to sing well as we're educated to do.
You were at the Metropolitan during what span?
From 1920 to 1932.
And since for many years now, you've been teaching, haven't you?
Yeah, I started to sing in 1939, and from that time I started to teach, just to get busy, otherwise I cannot stay home doing nothing.
You have many pupils, I know. You have a
Well,
very
not
busy
so many
schedule.
people, but, you know, teaching is a very hard job because you can pick up one, which is good, among 99%.
That's very true.
I have a boy that is singing with the Metropolitan by name Barry Morell.
Who thinks very highly of
Well,
you.
he's doing very well.
Yes, he is. It's a beautifully
Well.
trained voice.
Well, he had some natural disposition, of course, but, you know, he had no long preparation for the impact of the responsibility in front of a big audience, so cultured audience as the Metropolitan is. For that, I suggest him to go first to Europe, but the man is so American that he cannot move a step from New York. So he preferred to start with the Metropolitan, and I don't think that he was prepared to do so. But anyway, he's doing well.
He is doing very well indeed now.
All right.
Let me ask you something, Madame Sayão. These recordings that we're playing today were recorded over a span of time, but some of them were very early, weren't they?
Yes, Mr. Wagner. I think the only reason, the only excuse that you play today those records is just to show this new generation how a girl of 18 years old could succeed in to become an opera singer with such a tiny, insignificant voice.
Well, may I say that voice was never really insignificant.
Was.
Small, but never
I
insignificant.
tell you, sometimes that big handicap that was in my case helps me a lot. I think helped me more than if I was born with this tremendous gift of wonderful, beautiful, big voice. Because in my case, I studied so hard. I have a tremendous willpower, you know, to succeed. That in 3 years, I was 14 years old, and when I was 18, I recording these two records. One is the Guarani, you know, the two arias of the Guarani.
The Gomez.
Yes, is a Brazilian, composer. And I was 18 years old, and my teacher in Rio says, let's hear yourself. You should see, you should hear now yourself to see. And I did, and really I could believe it. That was myself. After 3 years, very hard work I did.
Did you ever find singing in the vast reaches of the Metropolitan difficult for you? It never sounded difficult. You always able to carry and project beautifully.
Well, sometimes I find difficulty, certainly. My voice, I fought with this, the size of my voice, and the Metropole was quite big for me. But I told you I had a background, all my life. I never stopped to study 1 minute. And my husband, was my teacher, and he helped me a lot too. So I could succeed.
And succeed you did. Were there any roles that you particularly enjoyed during your career, roles that you loved the most?
Everybody asks me what is your favorite
Yes,
role.
I'm sure.
I really, I had a few operas that I enjoy more than the others, of course. I enjoy to sing Manon very much
Oh,
because I
marvelously
start
well.
so careful, in France. I enjoy to sing La Bohème, of course, was one of my
That was
first,
one of
my
your very
best
great roles, yes.
I enjoyed Péléas and Mélisande very much because it was completely out of my repertoire and my feelings and everything. It was a wonderful experience for me, so I enjoy very much.
How about you, Signor Danise? Which of the roles that you sang during your career did you find most attractive to you?
Well, it's a matter of personal appreciation of the roles. I think most of the roles, the most human is Gérard in Andrea Chenier. And second comes Iago in Otello. The others are, they are vocally important, but I mean humanly not.
I see.
You see, they're more for a grand opera, but Otello, Falstaff, and André Chenier, they are more human. There is really the real life that develops among the scenes that the drama is involved too.
Tell me this, if this is not putting you people on the spot, from your vantage point now, as people who have completed immensely successful careers and still involved in music in a very great extent, have you noticed any radical change in the kind of singing that was offered during the 1930s and the kinds of singing offered now?
Now you're touching, an itching tooth.
This is something that you feel strongly, I gather.
The present imagination of the singers is completely wrong. The voice is a means to produce emotions, not to produce noises. And they are attaching more to the quantity of sound, which expresses nothing, to the quality and the importance of the sense of interpretation of the musical lines.
Well, this was certainly nothing. This is no charge leveled against you, Madame Sayão. Do you feel the same way?
Well, completely. I think I never sang really only with my tiny little voice. I sang with my soul and my heart.
Oh, without a question.
And this is the secret because I succeed, I guess. And everybody used to cry or to laugh when I was on the stage.
Me too.
Yes, I think so. This is very important.
But do you think this is because of the great publicity stress that's being placed now on the big instrument, the big sound? Is this the
I
cause?
don't think
Or is it just a change in
so.
fashion, or what?
I think so.
It's not matter. It's a change of fashion, not because change of fashion, because they think that they can.
The mentality is
The
different.
mentality is changed. You see, that's the taste is changed. People, they like to make a big noise, not to sing well. If you have a big voice, you have a big voice. You cannot build a big voice when you have a small one.
Well,
You can force your instrument. And when you force the instrument, the voice loses all the beautiful qualities that nature gave to the singer. So why to force the voice to obtain what climax? So without fearing that when you sing loud all the time, you become monotonous.
you certainly do. With no variation of tone quality,
I
no
think
variation
the
of
goal
dynamics.
of almost every sopranos, I think they would like to be all dramatic. Did you realize that?
I think it's
Those
true.
beautiful lyric or even a lyrical spinto, that they could, succeed in such a great way. No, they want to be dramatic. They want always to sing things that going to hurt their vocal cords.
Well, if I may bring up one name in particular, Madame Tebaldi, when she began her career, was a
You
lovely
remember?
lyric.
I have her first records.
They were beautiful.
I was mad about her voice and her style and her everything when she used to sing lyric spinto we call when you touch even Aida, but no more than that.
And now her repertoire is diminishing year by year. She sings fewer and fewer roles
Yes,
because she can't sing
she
them anymore.
forces, I guess, she forces her voice. She wants to be dramatic. She's not.
It's very true.
It's a pity, and many other examples that
Many.
we don't want to mention.
Many of them.
Yes.
I think the
it's
Metropolitan
a
roster is filled with them.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if this is, if you can ascribe any particular reason for this desire. Is it because there's big money paid for the big voice? Is that it?
I think so, because now it's very rare to be a really dramatic voice. I think Mrs. Nilsson is the only one we can call her dramatic voice, and for that everybody try to become, because it really is. I think they have more high fees and more requests.
May
You
I
don't
say
think
another
so?
word? Look, in the last century, I mean this century, there are three. They were phenomenal singers as a quantity of voice. Tamagno, Ruffo, and now we have Nilsson. For they are born with such a quantity of voice. They were not big singers. They were freaks. She is a freak because she has a voice like a trumpet.
Exactly. Like
Now, nobody can imitate such a quality which is inborn with the man. So, in fact,
Remember,
you
she's
see,
a Ruffo.
as a Tamagno, he entered his career almost young. I mean, when he was 50.
Yes,
Ruffo, he entered his career when he was 48, 49.
that's right.
And Nilsson, I don't know how long she can stand pushing that big voice all the time through. And the human flesh cannot resist
But I think that's
under such a strain,
Yes.
for a long period.
But in Nilsson's case, I think she never pushes. She sings so effortless. We can
Well,
say
Peter
that.
Ruffo, he
Yes.
never
Oh.
pushed too.
But
Yeah.
he still stopped singing early.
Sure.
She is marvelous because it gives us the impression that she's open her mouth and
Out
the
it
voice
comes.
comes out. It's wonderful.
Do you think this change in emphasis is part of the reason for the decline of the French repertoire at the Met? This is something that bothers me. We don't hear Manon anymore.
No,
we don't hear
no.
Louise. We don't hear.
I
any of
don't
the other
understand
Massenets.
about the French people. I don't know.
What is it? Because everybody's trying to sing Fanchula del West now, and nobody wants to sing.
Well,
anything
I
else?
don't know. I miss, now France for so long time. But in my time, we had few very good.
Excellent.
And now I don't know.
I
can't
have
see
a
any.
I have a pirated recording of you and Jussi Björling singing Romeo and Juliet, which I treasure with all my heart.
Really, I
It's-
never heard, Mr.
it's
Wagner.
fabulous.
Sometimes you must.
I will. It's
Show
incredibly
to me.
beautiful. It's incredibly
Yeah.
beautiful, and I miss things like this, and I wish again
Well,
we
I
could
sang
have it.
Romeo and Juliet in the big opera in Paris with George Till. You remember
Oh,
him?
I know George
He
Till's
was a
voice well.
very nice, very wonderful singer too, and very good voice.
Let me ask this question: if you both of you had your choice of any opera you'd like to see revived by the Metropolitan now, what would it be? Would you say?
Well, the other day I just told that is why they don't give Mârouf, because we speak about French operas. I think it's a delightful opera.
It's a very interesting choice. I'd
Huh?
love to hear
You
it.
don't think so?
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
Now, who could make wonderful Mârouf for you?
I'm not I'm not a manager. It's not
No, it's not a case to be a manager. We just guess.
The role of the principal, I mean the hero, is it was written for a baritone. But I heard two editions of Mârouf, one in Italy, conducted by the same composer, by Rabaud, and another edition here at the Metropolitan during the spring season many years ago with when Johnson started to be a manager here,
When I came
and
with
it
them.
was Mario Chamli.
Oh, he was
He sang the role.
marvelous.
He was wonderful.
No.
So if you have a tenor of such a kind that he has the humor to sing that part, I think that tenor is much better than a baritone. Otherwise, because the role becomes a little bit dull.
I'd love to hear that opera.
But that opera is a wonderful thing because not only is it theatrical, but people, they will amuse themselves. As the subject is taken from the shoemaker of Baghdad.
Yes.
This
Yes.
from the 1001 Nights.
1001 Nights, right.
I think it's very amusing.
Delightful.
It's a beautiful theatrical work. The music is not so difficult, even being a modernistic music, but everybody can understand it.
You mentioned before that you were not a manager. May I just say that I wish you were. I'd be delighted to have somebody with your tastes and your qualifications managing our companies. Signor Danise, Madame Sayão, it's been a delightful experience again having you here.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner, and I wish you all the luck you deserve for your wonderful work.
Well, thank you.
And we are your admirers. We listen you every single Sunday morning.
Well, you're very kind.
We wish you a constant success.
Well, thank you, sir.
And can I join another word every time? To remember that yesterday I went to hear Electra. And I was very proud of Regina Resnick, because Regina Resnick, she has been my pupil. And I changed her voice from soprano to mezzo. And she is making a great career in Europe.
Well, may I say
I'm very grateful to her that she honored my very modest and humble name.
Well, she's a charming and delightful woman. I wish her the very best of success. And to both of you, many, many thanks.
Thank you.